From your favorite Twitch streamers turning into adult entertainers, Joe Rogan selling scam products, to deepfakes with the potential of causing the next huge global conflict, these are the 7 deepfakes that have changed the internet forever.
Putin's illegal occupation of Kyiv and the impending Chinese blockade of Taiwan has created a two-front national security crisis that requires more troops than the volunteer military can supply.
You see, what you just watched is one of the most dangerous deepfakes the internet has ever seen. A deepfake that went viral on Twitter recently, gaining over 8 million views. Something like this has the very real potential of starting real conflicts in the future. With deepfakes becoming more and more realistic, almost to a point where they're indistinguishable from reality, how could a world leader or population know what is real and what isn't? Even with the disclaimer on this video, people were still fooled into thinking that it was real. And once the hard work of creating the deepfake has been done, it doesn't matter what the original intention was. People can still just repackage it to push whatever agenda they want. A more advanced and more malicious version of this video could easily spark a mass panic. Or worse, it could cause a precautionary retaliation. And then in a time of crisis, a nuclear war hoax could easily set off an already panicked regime. This eventuality will be possible in just a few years or even months at this point, considering how quickly global tensions and technology have been going in recent years. You can see the evidence of this in the video itself, with both the visuals and audio having been deepfaked in a very convincing way, and it was the first taste of the internet of how damaging these deepfakes could truly be. However, as serious as this topic is, the very first deepfake videos were originally sourced from Reddit, after an anonymous user going by the name Deepfake released a collection of videos depicting female celebrities like Gal Gadot, Daisy Ridley, and Jessica Alba in an adult setting. The user had trained an existing image creation AI to superimpose the celebrities' faces onto existing footage, and the results were like nothing anyone's ever seen before. They were crude, reprehensible, and clearly fake, but because of the nature of these deepfake videos, they exploded in popularity, with these videos eventually being known as deepfakes, all after this Reddit user called Deepfakes who first posted them. And it was these very first deepfake videos that would change the internet forever. A subreddit created to house them, and any new deepfakes quickly took off as well, gaining over 15,000 subscribers in just 2 months. And so it's depressingly predictable that the first use of this new technology by the internet was to create adult entertainment. But just a few months later, Reddit would ban these videos from the site. But this crackdown on deepfakes wouldn't do anything to stop this new technology. The genie was now out of the bottle, and so month by month, these videos slowly became more and more sophisticated and realistic. Part of this was due to improvements in technology, but it was also because the tools to create them became much more widespread. Deepfake, the Reddit user who started it all, even released his own app for recreating this process. In just a few simple clicks, anybody could create a deepfake using this free software. And so by now, the floodgates were open. Within weeks, thousands of deepfakes proliferated every corner of the internet. But this wasn't just adult entertainment videos anymore, because at the same time as the rise of these adult deepfakes, other examples of this technology began popping up, which eventually led to one other trend on deepfakes that would change the internet. And this is where people would insert Nicolas Cage into whatever movie you could think of. The culmination of this was a scene from Friends, where nearly all of the actors had been replaced by Nicolas Cage.
Terrific.
Really bitchin'.
However, these early deepfakes were still obviously not the person they depicted, although this would change very, very soon, as it wouldn't be long before the true potential of deepfakes was put on show, which leads to one of the most groundbreaking deepfakes. Because after these amateurish videos popped up, the internet eventually got its first taste of what professionals could accomplish with this new technology. It all started when BuzzFeed uploaded a new video called "You Won't Believe What Obama Says in This Video." In it, Barack Obama gives a public address on staying aware about misinformation and the potential dangers of deepfakes.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time,
as well as throwing in a few jokes.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit.
And it's only halfway through the video that we learn this whole video is a deepfake. Jordan Peele appears alongside the president, and it's revealed that he was the creator of the source footage and voiceover. But what was really concerning about this deepfake was how accurate it looked. Now, it still wasn't perfect, but it was miles ahead of anything else at the time. Combining these deepfakes with a talented impression, along with a high budget, increased the quality of these videos exponentially. And after the video gained nearly 10 million views, the message about being wary of believing everything you see online hits home. Now, one of the reasons why this footage was so realistic was that the AI that made it had access to a huge amount of reference footage. Obama is one of the most filmed and documented people in the world, meaning that AI could get a very good read on his mannerisms and facial expressions. And so in just a few days, the program was able to master it. Another was the lack of need for a deepfaked voice. You see, these deepfaked voices were still very primitive in 2018 and could be easily recognizable as fake.
Hello. How are you?
With a good impressionist, a deepfake could seem very real indeed, but both of these limitations could easily be surpassed with better deepfaking technology. Once the amount of source material needed is reduced, anyone can be deepfaked realistically. The billions of selfies floating around the internet ensures this, and any truly malicious party can make the source footage themselves. So by using these techniques, they could then defame the victim or even blackmail them by threatening to release the footage. Which is why this Obama deepfake was the first one to demonstrate how real these videos could really look. Using these deepfake techniques, they could then defame the victim or even blackmail them by threatening to release the footage. And this is certainly the concern that Jordan Peterson has surrounding deepfakes, with Jordan recently claiming, quote, "The production of such fakes should be a crime with a mandatory 10-year sentence. This tech is dangerous beyond belief." The sentiment followed from a viral deepfake of Jordan, where in the deepfake, Jordan Peterson brutally denounces members of the German government, labeling them as an embarrassment.
There's this classical notion of kakistocracy, meaning a government run by the worst, the least qualified, so to say. Now, no other nation on earth is a more vivid example of this than the current German government.
Claiming that one German politician referred to Ukraine as cocaine.
This lady is struggling not to mess up the simplest of words. She is mispronouncing names of people, capitals, even her own. She called Ukraine cocaine, for goodness sake.
As he described the German government as a complete freak show, ending the video saying,
"Good luck, Germany. I'm sorry, but you are fucked."
The video had people seriously questioning if it was real, with tweets like this, with it later being updated after being pointed out as fake, with some tweets taking the deepfake as a message of truth, even if this was, quote, "a good deepfake." Others claimed that the words spoken were self-evidently true, even though Jordan Peterson never said any of this. But the fact that it's not immediately recognizable to many as fake is very scary, and with deepfake technology becoming better and better, it's only a matter of time until a video like this won't just fool some people, but everyone. When this is the case, and I say when because this is pretty much inevitable at this point, you won't be able to verify if anything is real or fake without actually consulting with the person in the video. And it's this ability to influence large amounts of people that is the true power behind deepfakes. Being able to disrupt or even sow doubt in your opponents is incredibly valuable to any government with a relaxed view on ethics, which is why it's not surprising that countries like China and Russia or North Korea have begun experimenting with deepfakes. Most clearly this started in early 2021. When members of the European Parliament were shocked to learn that they hadn't actually been speaking with the Putin critic Leonid Volkov. In fact, what they'd been speaking to was a deepfake. By taking advantage of the low resolution of video calls, two Kremlin-backed social media pranksters posed as Volkov and had meetings with high-up officials across the continent, as well as other news agencies, and it was only discovered later after that this whole thing had been faked. All these politicians had been speaking to AI, and whilst it was very embarrassing for all the governments and people who got fooled, it didn't really lead to any real damage. However, regardless, the incident came as a warning of the danger that deepfakes pose to democracy, and having found success on such a small scale, Russia then decided to push deepfakes further in an audacious attempt to swing the war in their favor. Having failed in their initial attempt to make Ukraine capitulate, Russia needed a new tactic to convince the global population of their war efforts, and this was when they would release an entirely deepfaked video of President Zelensky telling Ukrainian troops to lay down their arms and surrender to Russia. It was the first time that deepfakes had been so blatantly used by a state as a weapon to spread misinformation, and at first it did seem like it was working. One post of the video got over 120,000 views on Twitter. Ukrainian news channels were even hacked into and forced to broadcast this false surrender message, until it was eventually taken offline. However, it's doubtful that anyone ever took it seriously, as it wasn't too realistic or convincing, and Ukraine also held matters by immediately disproving it. However, the issue arises when you consider what the attempt means for the future. Considering this technology is only a few years old, once it improves over the decades, it's going to become harder and harder to disprove and discredit these as fake, making the impact far more unpredictable. And for a country on the brink of losing a war or a country where morale has hit a low point, one well-placed deepfake could spark a mass panic. And propaganda is a huge part of fighting wars and controlling the enemy's population. So it's really not hard to imagine countries incorporating deepfakes as yet another weapon in their arsenal. But of course, deepfakes aren't just going to disrupt politics. They've also started to be used for other insidious purposes, which becomes clear in this next example. Now you see, the best deepfakes come when you find more sources of data on people's speech and mannerisms, as someone's voice is very hard to deepfake convincingly, especially compared to video as we see right now. So considering his thousands of hours of podcasts and his high profile, Joe Rogan is perhaps the perfect target. Now most of the deepfakes of Joe Rogan are completely innocent comedy, like a deepfake of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson discussing Bionicle, which went viral.
Did you ever watch the Bionicle movie?
Yes, I
Not
did.
the Metro Nui ones, or God
No.
forbid the 2009 one.
However, what came from these deepfakes of Joe Rogan was one of the first deepfake scams to take off. First uploaded in early February of 2023, the video seemed to show Joe Rogan and a guest discussing a new male performance supplement, telling people to go buy it off of Amazon, and immediately the video went viral.
Well, look, that Alpha Grind product that's all over TikTok, if you go to Amazon and you type in libido booster for men, you're going to find it right at the top. And that's because guys are figuring out that it literally is increasing size and making a difference down there.
It stimulates the testes, if you got those, to make more testosterone.
And although people picked up on the scam, it's not certain how many people were actually duped into believing this. And using Joe Rogan's reputation, it likely worked. And then the success and notoriety of this scam generated a whole slew of copycats, which is only getting more and more sophisticated. But the biggest problem with deepfakes today is consent. To take someone's likeness and their voice to push whatever agenda you want is a form of identity theft. But when deepfakes are used as adult entertainment, the victim is then stripped of their right to their own body and privacy as well. And although most major sites have banned these kinds of deepfakes, legislation and an overall ban are still a long way off. And this, combined with the completely deserved public outrage, has forced these deepfakes onto their own shady sites. And this is why one of the most famous deepfakes caused such a huge scandal recently, when a famous Twitch streamer Atriarch was caught with one of these sites open on stream. Whilst he was streaming from one tab to another, the streamer accidentally revealed the site that he was on, and it only got worse when it was discovered that the site he had been using had deepfakes of other Twitch streamers, like Cutie Cinderella, Maya Higa, and Pokimane, which resulted in Atriarch's embarrassing apology video, where he failed to salvage any remaining shreds of his reputation.
I don't know, I got morbidly curious and I clicked something, and I it's just fucking, it's gross. It's gross, and I'm sorry. I really am. I really fucking am. I know I'm like joking a lot in this stream.
And unfortunately, whilst his career has taken a massive blow, his actions have only promoted these sick deepfakes even more. In fact, this massive drama machine surrounding this incident probably did way more to boost the popularity of illicit deepfakes than anything else before. And dealing with this problem is almost impossible right now. Victims of these deepfakes often have little recourse other than targeting individual videos or sites. But when one gets removed, more spring up to replace it. And it's not a battle that should have to be fought by the victims in the first place. However, the glacial pace of legislation compared to the quick progression of technology makes banning these a fairy tale scenario. And it's not just about adult entertainment, this is about the impact on society as a whole. And when you think about it, it's only been about 1 year, and deepfakes have already completely saturated the internet, but the problems they're causing are only getting worse. So it's not really surprising that people are now trying to find a way to combat these videos. But the question is, how do you even do this? Well, right now there are some techniques to spot even sophisticated deepfakes with the naked eye. Subtle facial movements like blinking are often dead giveaways, as deepfake videos often blink too often or not enough, and the movement itself may seem jittery. Deepfake programs also struggle with the natural lighting and the borders between facial features, although to be fair, this is so much harder to spot. Audio deepfakes are also still detectable, being nowhere near as sophisticated as deepfake videos, with these audio deepfakes often giving themselves away because the pauses between sentences are always too short or too long.
Hey boy, give me some chicken nuggets. Thank you, sir. No need for thanks. Get me some fries too.
But as they get harder to spot, we'll have to turn to computer techniques to find them out. And this also has its own problems, because the way deepfake programs are designed means that one part of the AI is always trying to tell deepfakes apart from reality, meaning there is a constant AI arms race raging already, and whenever one way of finding out the truth is found, it will inevitably be accounted for by other programs, with all of this leading to the terrifying conclusion that deepfakes could become undetectable in the very near future.